So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live show with live people, recorded for Ustream.tv and also YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. This is the first video of my first anniversary of making YouTube videos. According to YouTube, I've been making videos for a year. And as it happened, it was the Thursday, was the 1st of June, so I thought I'd do it today. So it might not be exactly the 1st of June, but it did say June. So I thought I bought some new products, and I thought I'd try and get back to be a bit more arty. So the first thing that I bought was, I wanted a bit more colour in my life as well. I've gone very pale and very pastel-y, and I love that. But I thought I'd get a bit more vibrancy. And I started in this book with my Derwent watercolours, and I was really surprised how vibrant they are and what deep, rich colours you can get. But it did remind me of the oil pastels. So I made a small purchase of these Derwent 36 oil pastels. I think they were about £9 something. Free postage, that was quite good. There's 36. There isn't a colour swatch, but they do give you the names of the colours in the order they appear when you buy them. So I did a little colour swatch, and I've blended them with a little bit of white spirit. So I haven't decided how I'm going to do this. I think I might not use white spirit on this particular page. This is a colour book which I did at the beginning of the year, and I said I was going to do one every day because it was very quick. And these are the cheapy children's oil pastels I had. And again, I'd forgotten 6 months ago I'd already gone from white to dark. So I always forget things. So I'm going to start a new colour book. It's going to be a little sketchbook similar to this, but it's just going to be pure colour thumbnails or little postage stamp size. And so if I decide that I want to look at some colours for this particular page, I might play about with colour in this little book, and then I'm going to use the bullet journal system because I love that, and somewhere on the page or at the back I will put a little number. And I'll know when I come to colour this page, if I don't do it straight away, I'll know that I've got my colours already sorted for this page. And the reason for that is I spend a lot of time looking at my colours. This is what colour books are for, and a lot of art is, it's a good drawing, but then you need good colour. Because if either of those two aren't right, it will never look okay. So with the colour books, everything's been done for you. But sometimes I do spend a lot of time thinking about colour. So this colour book will have small shapes with certain colours put together in a certain way. So I'll have my vibrant colours, I'll have my pastel pale colours. They will be in that's Derwent watercolours, that's Hydrus, sorry I tell a lie, that's Derwent Inktense pencils. This is Derwent watercolour pencils, and so you can get some very, very darks. Sorry, it's out of focus. Some very darks from the pencils, and this one that's pastel. And that's pastel blended with a brush. That's just blended with a blending tool. So you have the vibrancy, and you can get some very pale pastel shades. And this one is Inktense blocks. And I was so amazed to get such pale, beautiful, soft blends with such vibrant Inktense blocks. So it doesn't really matter what you've got. You can get some very variation of what you've got. So that's the other thing that I want to show is that you can get very, very pales from Inktense blocks, Derwents, and you can get some very, very strong colours from Derwent watercolour pencils. It just depends how you apply them. And again, this colour book's going to give me that. It will have a page of pastels, of oil pastels, and then it will have a page that's blended with a torchon or with a blending tool or with white spirit. So on that page altogether, I'll have quite a good colour match with my pastels. And then I might go on to something else, and that's good to do while you're watching TV, because haven't got to concentrate on colouring in. You're just playing with colour, and that's very, very good. So that when you come to a page, you might think, "Oh, I remember there was a combination that I quite liked," and so you can go back to your colour book, and you can find your colours. So that's going to be another new series, as well as drawing as well, because my drawing's gone to pants. So drawing and painting and colour is going to be I'm going to learn all over again how to do it, because I've completely forgotten how to draw, which is a bit frightening, but hey ho, it's okay. So I've chosen, I was inspired by my Derwent pencils, and I kind of liked, I think it's at the back, the little pink. I really like these colours. So I want to start going from white to dark. So I've got a white, a pink and a very dark purple. And then I want the white, olive, and that one is indigo. And that combination of blend goes from very dark green to very, very light. So I've just dropped my crayon. And little darling Alfie is fast asleep because he's just had a big bark alert. So hopefully we should have some a quiet stream today. Hopefully. So thanks for joining me on this first YouTube birthday anniversary. And thank you for subscribing, and thank you for watching my videos and joining me live on Ustream. Excuse me. So I'm going to go for, I think I want to do that rose first. But the one thing I think you've got to remember is this is smudgeable, is the best word I can say. Oh, hi Jane, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Oh, thank you. So you've got to think about that. So there's two ways you can do it. You can either start at the top and work across. I'm left-handed, so I would start in the top right corner and work away. So wherever I'm working, this is all plain. Or a lot of artists always have a piece of paper under their wrist, because we have oils in our skin, and sometimes it can alter how the colour, whatever it is going on your page. So I think I'll get the piece of paper, if I can find a piece of paper. The other thing I've got is a piece of kitchen roll. I love these kitchen rolls. They're only new in England, but I love them because you don't have to tear them off. You just pick one off one-handed. And believe me, in my house with Alfie, we go through a lot of kitchen roll. So that's another one that'd be quite good. Now, if that was pastel, it would smudge. It probably will smudge with these. We'll have to be a bit careful. So I've decided I want that pink and dark purple rose. These look like very pale primroses, so they could be kind of pale pinks. And I think these would possibly be little purple violets. So I think I might start in this top corner, and that looks almost like another rose. So I think I'm going to do that. So that's my rose colour. I think I'm going to start in the top corner, and I'm going to zoom in, and then you can see what I'm doing. If anybody's got any questions, pop them in caps. Thank you for joining me on this live stream. Hopefully the light will be good. As I say, when we have an overcast day in the UK, it kind of does play havoc. I've got to be quite comfortable so I can get to it. I think we're in focus. I'll just see if I can borrow... Oops, that might be quite good. Just bear with me a second. I'll just play with the... whoopsie, sorry. I think that's the best. Oops, Alfie's on the move. I think that's the best we're going to get. Oopsie, sorry, bark alert. Sorry, I was just waiting for Alfie to stop barking. So this is white, and these are the Derwent oil pastels. So I haven't played with them before, I don't know how good they are. I've had a bit of a play with them, so I'm going to scratch a bit of white into there, and then a little bit of pink. And this one would be the... I think we said this one was where's light pink. I think this one is deep rose. So I do try to do the colours if I can. So that one's deep rose. Now the thing about these is they're very, very, very vibrant and they're fairly quick. I think they're fairly quick. Oh, I think I should have put the white first. So, and I have no idea how they're going to blend. So blending tools. I've got some little cotton buds. But in my pencil case here, we have some, we'll call them torsions or blending tools or paper blenders. They've got all sorts of names. I think I'd like the softer one, but sometimes they're expensive. The Derwent ones are a little bit more, so I've got a bit of a red on there, so I'm going to use that. Wait a minute, but I use the white first. So I haven't got... Oh yes, I have a softer one. You should be able to put these in a pencil sharpener, but I haven't got a pencil sharpener. Just let me have a look. Oh my goodness, I do apologise, that's the old dog. What was it said? Never work with dogs. Never work with dogs. So actually it works quite well with a sharp blade. The one thing about using blades though is you always have to remember to put it back in its little holder. Right, so I've now got rid of that black, so I'm going to keep this for the white if I can. Blend that in there. And then there is a bit of a red pink end there, isn't there? So I think you can put a kind of... I think I like that soft blend, so I shouldn't have put a lot of colour on there. I think I like the fact that less is more kind of effect on there. I think I like that better. So it feels a bit waxy. Now this book is fine because on the other side they're only single-sided. and they're perforated, but this is the book that I bought for a couple of pounds. So this wants to be green and these want to be violet. So excuse me, so I'm going to look through my colours again. So I've got the olive green for the leaves, so I have a different green. I think that's definitely the olive green, is that one. I think the dark green might be nice. Now there's a sharp edge. Now some pastels are softer, but we do have an edge on there, so I think if you've got an edge, and I think with pastels you can be a bit freer as well, and I think that's what I wanted, to just have a little bit more freedom than I had. So again, just scratch that into there. So tight Yorkshire Lass, again, a little bit goes a long way. It's quite like that. And then I wanted that lovely white olive to blue for the leaves. So we have a leaf there. So on the outside, I kind of want a little bit of that. And then we need a bit of olive in there. And then kind of in the middle, this dark green might just blend that out quite nicely. So it's not kind of thick and rough as the one I did at the beginning of the year. I've got a little bit more precision and a bit more kind of control over it, and I quite like that, because sometimes you want to go in there and kind of just scribble colour, and sometimes if I have a nice pattern I want to make a bit of a better job of it, if that makes any sense. Oh, hi Emma, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Hope you're all having a good natter. This is an anniversary, so I think I'm going to work in little sections. It means picking pencils up and pastels up, but I think I'm going to like that. I might want actually a different green for that one. I might use this one. The idea is to put a little bit of colour at the bottom and then kind of have it blended with white, and that's going to give me some quite nice blends. And again, I've done the white first. I did have a little bit of pink on there, so you get a very subtle kind of blend. I wonder if that's in focus. It seems to have gone out of focus now. See if I can just sharpen that up just a little bit. That'd be better, hopefully. So the green looks a little bit too dark, but it isn't that dark. So now I want to go purple, pale purple, and then I'm going to use, what shall I use for the purple? There's a dark blue there. I think I might like a fuchsia pink. No, I'm not going to use a fuchsia pink. I think I'm going to use this one. So around the edges of the petals. So although it's fairly quick, I still don't want to kind of put too much in there. Just that little bit of dark. I'm not sure that's dark enough, it might want something else. So you can blend them with white spirit. I think that's quite nice and soft. Hopefully that's coming across. And a little bit of got to learn to, I think, blend the white first. And I am taking quite a lot off there, I have to say, quite a lot. So they're not quite as vibrant and bright as I thought they were going to be, but that's because I'm trying to get this, again, probably pushing these to the limit. You know, they are very vibrant and very bright, and so I'm trying to get a pastel effect. And sometimes you don't know why you're doing these things. So you could go around and do all that first, and then do your blending afterwards. And again, I just keep doing that with that white. I don't know. I keep losing my lovely white, so I think I might have to kind of keep one just for the white without trying to get down there. But of course most things are not pure white anyway. White is never pure white, so no thanks, I'm fine with that, darling, thank you. Thanks anyway. They're quite soft. This is not how I envisaged to be working today. I envisaged to be working quite vibrant and bright, but sometimes these may be different to those flowers. So again, I'm just going to do that one into there. And perhaps if I did this kind of action, and then you can work it in whichever way you want. You can, if you optically blend them, so if you did the middle bit half and half white and half, then you would get a more natural blend when you blended them. So just the tips would be white, so maybe that's going to be an option in a bit. And so keep the white, which is you don't have to blend them at all if you don't want to. I just thought they might look quite a little bit softer if they were blended, just to give that little bit. And then I should be able to go over with a highlight. I think it was just the tips I wanted white, so again, I haven't really done this before, so I just scratched a lot of colour in last time, so sometimes you need to build up the colour. And I think we might have a kind of a pinky red middle. So these are definitely not vibrant, bright colours that I intended to work with. sometimes that's what happens. And so I have another leaf there. And then we have the olive green. And which is the darkest blue? I think I like that blue slightly better than I like that one. So little circular motions, but you're going to get some very soft colours, which, as I say, is something completely different than I expected to do. This one is going to be a different green, so I think you could kind of start that one off. Then I think I may change. That was acid. Acid yellow is a greeny yellow. It's quite good for a greeny yellow. So I think that might work quite well. So instead of kind of putting the white in there, I think we could get some nice subtle shades from that one. Possibly the yellow one. I quite like that. It's kind of growing on me now. They can be purple because they're obviously going to be kind of just buds, and then that wants to be the middle. So sometimes it would be a good idea to have all these in colour order. That would make it slightly easier. So we could do with the background. So these are going to be different. This is going to be so this one's going to be pink, a pale pink. So I think I'm going to use the rule of 3, but I might leave, I don't know about the white at the moment. So we've got that's almost a flesh pink. I think it's going to be a fuchsia pink in the middle. So again, I'll use the white. I do want this to be fairly pale. I'd love a lovely soft pale pink petal. That's a different flower. So I've never done this really like this, so it's a new way of working, so we'll see what happens. Of course, a lot of colour books have some nice lines and cross-hatching, so you know roughly where you need to be for shadow and kind of shade. I think I might have a very deep I might have this one in the centre. I think this is quite just need that little bit of shade in there. And that pink's a bit insipid actually, isn't it? It's just a bit kind of the round torsions better than those other ones, really. Again, it helps to go with the direction of the petal. So these pastels have got a bit more about them than the ones I was using yesterday. They kind of blend quite nicely. So I've got a really nice subtle. It's a little bit waxy, but of course it's a wax crayon. So not sure about the background. These are going to be yellow, I think. I think I want these yellow. Kind of. It's just getting the right yellow. I think this is going to be quite vivid in the middle. So again, I did not envisage playing like this. I thought it would be a lot bolder. But in the nature of the pattern, I think let me try a cotton bud and see how we do with this. Both are quite nice. See if we can get some. Some nice blends. Get some nice highlights right on the end, so that's quite much. I'm not putting very much pressure on because I've got poorly fingers, so that's why I was using these. So I'm not putting much pressure on. That's why I like them to be quite soft. You're just kind of scratching them across. Not as much as a pencil, I don't think. Because I think if you put a lot of pressure, you're pushing the colour off. Because these are quite hard, these. That's why I thought I'd use the softer one. What have I done with the white? Is it in my hand? No. There it is. I think the cotton buds are a little bit softer. These are nicer. These are, oh, that's this crater colour on. They're a little bit softer. I think the cotton buds are probably slightly softer. So that's there isn't a lot of colour. I'm not putting a lot of colour on there, so it's different to the way I've worked before. So how I would do it before is you can use these, so you can blend them as they are. You can blend them together. Or you can just leave them. You could leave them like that, and you've got it. Or you can use them in a bit of a blend. And you can use them. I kind of like that soft. So there's a little bit of colour there, but it's not as thick as the other pages I've done. They're very creamy though, very buttery. These are really nice to kind of just scratch on colour. I mean, you didn't have to put white on. I'll try it without white, see what it looks like. The problem is once you start doing a page, you want it to be a little bit unified, but so just blend the yellow one out. It's a soft cotton bud, so it's not going to take too much. I'm not using a lot. I'm not using a lot like I was when I did this page. I think there is one other video of pastels that I did, and I just scratched it on. It's just scratched on, and I blended with a finger. But of course, it's a big pattern, big bold colours. It's a big pattern, so you could do that. This is a little bit more delicate. The other one I was going to do is the poppies, which I might do in a minute. I'll do the poppies, but I just thought I'd start this quite delicate. I just do the rose. So we've got another pink one here. So it's fairly quick, and I like the fact you could actually get some really soft effects. I thought it kind of be in your face like the other one, so you don't actually have to put white on. I don't know which is easier, because your white can kind of blend down. So I have a pink. I think I like the cotton buds. They're a little bit softer. Just blend that pink out. And it's not so bad, because if it was too scratchy, I wouldn't be able to do that for long. So that's given a really subtle colour, which I thought I wouldn't expect to do this. This one did not expect to do that. So originally I was going to have my rose with the fuchsia pink, but I'm going to change that because I like that pink there, but I think I want a red. I'm going to go for this one. And again, this is a different way of working. I didn't expect to be doing it like this. I expect to just be scratching the colour on, but sometimes different things lend you to do different ways of working. So let's see if we can pull that colour out. If we scratch a bit of white on the end, it should form a resist, so you get more white, you get more pink, you protect a lot of the edge of the petal when you're blending out. So I think I might just do that and see what that does. So you get more of a subtle, I missed that bit there, look. You get more of a subtle pink because it doesn't want to go around the edge. So I'm going to blend all the red, and then I'm going to come back for the pink. It's probably the same as a pencil, but a soft pencil. I would say a soft pencil, because I can't use pencils very well, so I would say a soft pencil. And I did have a white edge there, so let's have a look what happens there. Hi Dylan, you alright? It's quite a nice effect. You can, as I go back in if you want, pull that out a bit more. Sometimes I find the shape of things a little bit easier, so oops, you can hold it how you want. So you can build up your colours. It's like a fat pencil. It's like a fat pencil, so I couldn't do it for hours on end with my hands, but putting this colour on is what I thought I would be doing. This is quite kind of soft and easy, but of course I'm not scribbling all the time, so it's a little bit easier. This is why I can't use pencils, because and this is quite a little fat torsion, and I'm just moving it about. I don't know if you can hear the fact it feels like it's kind of scratching about, but there's very little pressure on there. That's with hardly any, and that's pushing down. But you don't really want to push down, because you want to leave a lot of colour where it is and then kind of just manipulate it around a bit. So you don't want too much pressure really. If you had too much pressure you would push it off its page, and we don't really want to do that. We want to manoeuvre it about a bit, is probably a better term. Now if you were doing this, I'll do another one in a minute with a paintbrush, and it almost becomes an oil paint. It almost becomes an oil paint, and bearing in mind I haven't put any white on this particular one there, so you can be as kind of you just want to push that up there to give a little bit of colour. And you'll probably find you could almost kind of manipulate it a bit more. To create some space with the colour, because obviously the petals behind. Sometimes you want, if you don't want a white tipped flower, we just want to give a hint of a highlight, so you can build the colour up. Excuse me. So again, you might want that one quite. But as I say, this is I've not really done it like this before, so there's a bit of a play. Sorry, it could be a bark alert. No idea why, but we could have a bark alert. Sometimes it's better to get the colour. in the middle where you want it. So you can create all sorts of, manipulate the colour around, and sometimes you think, well, I need a bit more in there. So if you add terps to it, it becomes almost an oil paint. So I've only used one colour, so this is different to the other sides that I've been doing. So I've got that subtle effect with just one colour, and I've just finished this petal. I've got this petal here. So again, you want to work that in and then manipulate it out. So little soft strokes give a soft effect, so I'm blending that out. So you can get a really nice highlight on there if you want. I might just go in there with something a bit darker when I get this one finished. So you've got to be a bit careful you get your hand on it, that's the only thing. I want it blending in as well. Sometimes you forget where you've been, so other people have got different ways of working. And it's gone a little bit dark, that, but so again, if you put some white on there, it's just going to protect that highlight just that little bit more. So I think I want something a little bit darker in there, but I'm not quite sure what I want. I think that's the darkest purple. Not sure if purple would do it. I think it's a bit bright, is that? Try a little bit of purple in there. It's just given a little bit of a hint of a deeper red. I would have liked a slightly darker one, but that'll be fine. It's just taking that edge off, that pink, so we know it is a shadow. So the best thing to do is to work your way in the pencils. Sorry, with the pastel colour. You can't have too many layers though, it's not very forgiving. It's a bit like other pastels. This isn't proper paper, this is just coloured plain paper, so you've got to think about that. It's a colour page. It's not really built for lots of layers. So again, you've got to take that into consideration. It doesn't matter what you can do with the colours and the supplies, you've got to really also know the limitation of different papers, because they vary in books. This is a cheapy book, but the paper's not so bad. But even this won't take too much. And just like that little bit of purple in there, it's just giving it that little bit of contrast. So you can just pop a bit in where you think. But as you can see, most of it's rubbing off because the paper's had enough. It's decided that, you know, you've scratched into me as much as I want now. That's it. But you can sometimes just get a little bit of a purple hit. So I quite like that. So I've done all the colours. I've used all the colours, I think. A dark background would be nice. Just let me pan out and you can see what I've done. So that's some quite nice deep colours, and it's not going to go anywhere now. It's pushed in a bit. If I'd left it on top, then it would be quite it would be quite movable. But because it's on a plain page on the other side, I'm not really particularly bothered about it. But I do like the colours. I like the fact that I can get some very pales in there, and I think the other 3 roses here, and then the 3 pale roses, and then maybe darken those up a little bit and put a very dark green background. I think that'll look quite good. And it's again a different way of working, and it's completely different. But I'm pleased with the colours. They're not quite as bold as I wanted them to be, but there's different ways of working. So I quite like that. So it's taken about an hour, so that's an hour to do that much. So, you know, you're talking 2 or 3 hours. Probably a bit less if you did them all at once. But 2 or 3 hours for a colour book. It's about a day or a weekend if you did an hour on an evening, 2 or 3 hours. So it's still fairly quick. It's fairly quick. There's some nice colours. You can have bold or you can have pale. And again, I like that versatility. That's quite nice. That's quite nice. So hopefully the roses will kind of stand out a bit. Push that there a bit. And the roses will stand out, and then you'll have the really pale, subtle primroses in the background, and the little violets, and the little I don't know what the yellow ones are called. So I hope you found that interesting. That's just using little blending, dry blending as I call it. Nothing on there at all. So the next one I'm going to do, I'm going to use white spirit and actually really blend them into the paper. I think, unless I just do ordinary colours. Very bold, and then I might do the poppies. I think the poppies is the next one. But I'm going to end the video here because it's been nearly an hour. So thank you for watching. That's my Derwent oil pastels.